Have you ever wondered if the moon we see every night is truly a natural satellite? Or could it be something far more sinister, a hidden base for extraterrestrial beings monitoring our every move? And what if the legendary Apollo missions, celebrated as humanity's greatest triumph, were nothing more than the most elaborate Hollywood production in history? These are the questions that have haunted dreamers and skeptics alike for decades. And in this episode, we will explore the biggest mystery of them all. Is the moon an alien outpost? And was the Apollo moon landing a hoax? Welcome to Mystery History for Sleep, the channel where we delve into the enigmatic corners of history and the cosmos, unraveling secrets that whisper through the night to lull you into a peaceful slumber. I am Mr. H, your guide through these shadowy tales. Tonight, we embark on a journey that questions the very fabric of what we believe about our place in the universe. Let us start with the heart of the intrigue, the event that captivated the world on July 20th, 1969. Millions of Americans gathered around their television sets, hearts pounding with national pride, as Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin supposedly stepped onto the lunar surface. President Richard Nixon hailed it as a giant leap for mankind, and the United States of America claimed victory in the space race against the Soviet Union. But what if that iconic footage, the grainy black and white images of astronauts bounding across the dusty terrain, was filmed not on the moon, but in a secret studio somewhere in the Nevada desert, perhaps even at the infamous Area 51? This is the core of the moon landing hoax theory, a narrative that suggests the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA, orchestrated a grand deception to outmaneuver the Soviets during the Cold War. The theory gained traction in the 1970s, fueled by books like Bill Kaysing's We Never Went to the Moon, America's $30 billion swindle, published in 1976. Kaysing, a former employee at Rocketdyne, a company involved in the Apollo program, argued that the technology of the time was insufficient to safely transport humans to the moon and back. He pointed to anomalies in the photographs, shadows that appeared to fall in multiple directions, as if lit by studio lights rather than the single source of the sun. The American flag seeming to wave in a vacuum where there is no wind, and the absence of stars in the sky, which some claim would be visible without Earth's atmosphere. These details, Kaysing and his followers asserted, were telltale signs of a staged event. But the most captivating element of this conspiracy involves one of Hollywood's greatest directors, Stanley Kubrick. Proponents of the hoax theory claim that Kubrick, fresh off directing the groundbreaking film 2001, A Space Odyssey in 1968, was recruited by the Central Intelligence Agency to create realistic moon footage. The movie's special effects were revolutionary, depicting space travel with unprecedented realism. Conspiracy theorists speculate that Kubrick used the same techniques, front screen projection, and detailed set designs, to fabricate the Apollo 11 broadcast. Some even suggest that clues to this involvement are hidden in Kubrick's later work, like The Shining, where a child wears an Apollo 11 sweater, symbolizing the director's guilt or a subtle confession. Imagine the irony: a film about human evolution and discovery, allegedly masking the greatest lie ever told. This notion resonates deeply in American culture, where distrust of government runs like a thread through our history. From the Watergate scandal that toppled Nixon in 1974 to the revelations of the Pentagon Papers exposing lies about the Vietnam War, Americans have learned to question official narratives. The moon landing occurred at a time of immense social upheaval. The civil rights movement, anti-war protests, and assassinations of leaders like John Fitzgerald Kennedy and Martin Luther King Jr. In such an era of deception and division, it is no wonder that skepticism flourished. A 1999 Gallup poll found that 6% of Americans believed the landings were faked. Fast forward to today, August 26, 2025, and recent surveys paint an even more intriguing picture. According to a Statista survey released on June 27, 2025, approximately 10% of respondents strongly believe that the moon landing was faked, while another 8% somewhat agree, bringing the total to around 18% who harbor doubts. This aligns with a YouGov poll from 2023, which showed 18% of Americans believing the moon landing was staged, a figure that has held steady, or even risen amid growing misinformation on social media. The Carsey School of Public Policy at the University of New Hampshire, in their August 6, 2025 report, titled, "Can the Government Control Hurricanes?" New survey results on conspiracies and science, compared beliefs from 2021 to 2025 and found a slight increase in agreement with the moon hoax theory, particularly among younger demographics influenced by online content. In a nation where freedom of speech allows such ideas to proliferate, it is fascinating and perhaps alarming that nearly 1 in 5 Americans questions this cornerstone of our scientific achievement. Why does this belief persist? Part of it stems from the radiation belts surrounding Earth, known as the Van Allen belts, discovered by American physicist James Van Allen in 1958. Conspiracy theorists argue that passing through these belts would have exposed astronauts to lethal doses of radiation, making survival impossible with the shielding technology of the era. NASA counters that the Apollo spacecraft traversed the belts quickly, minimizing exposure, and that the astronauts' dosimetry badges recorded safe levels. Yet, skeptics point to the fact that no humans have returned to the moon since Apollo 17 in 1972, asking why, if it was possible then, we have not gone back. With advancements in technology, should we not have lunar bases by now? This gap fuels speculation that the original missions were impossible, hence fabricated. Adding to the mystery are the lost Apollo tapes. In 2006, NASA admitted that the original telemetry data and high-quality video recordings from Apollo 11 had been erased and reused due to a tape shortage in the 1980s. This revelation sparked outrage among hoax believers, who see it as evidence of a cover-up. How convenient, they say, that the most crucial proof vanished. Furthermore, photographs from the missions show no blast crater under the lunar module's descent engine, which some claim should have been visible if the craft truly landed. NASA explains this by noting the low gravity and the engine's throttling down, but for doubters, it is another smoking gun. Let us not forget the geopolitical context. The Cold War was at its peak, with the Soviet Union launching Sputnik in 1957 and Yuri Gagarin becoming the first man in space in 1961. President John Fitzgerald Kennedy's 1961 pledge to land a man on the moon by the end of the decade was a bold move to assert American superiority. But what if the United States could not deliver? Theorists posit that rather than admit defeat, the government staged the event to boost morale and deter Soviet aggression. Intriguingly, the Soviets never publicly disputed the landings, which some interpret as complicity or blackmail. Perhaps they knew it was fake, but stayed silent in exchange for grain shipments or other concessions during the détente era. In recent years, social media has amplified these theories. On platforms like X, formerly Twitter, discussions rage. For instance, a post from August 9, 2025, by user Habundia links to a documentary titled "The Most Comprehensive Documentary on the Fake Moon Landing Hoax," claiming it exposes the truth behind Apollo. Another from August 5 by Conscience Realm asserts that all Apollo astronauts admitted the hoax before death, though no verifiable evidence supports this. These viral claims, often accompanied by edited videos or memes, reach millions, eroding trust in institutions. But the moon's mysteries extend beyond the landings. What if the moon itself is an artificial construct, a hollow sphere placed in orbit by advanced extraterrestrials? This idea, popularized by authors like David Icke, suggests the moon is a surveillance station, influencing Earth's tides, human behavior, and even our evolution. Seismic data from Apollo missions showed the moon ringing like a bell after impacts, interpreted by some as evidence of a hollow interior. Russian scientists Mikhail Vasin and Alexander Sherbakov proposed this in a 1970 article, "Is the Moon the Creation of Alien Intelligence?" Their work, translated and circulated in American conspiracy circles, argues the moon's perfect size and distance create total solar eclipses, a cosmic coincidence too precise for nature. Linking this to the hoax, theorists claim NASA discovered alien structures during Apollo obelisks, domes, or even cities on the far side and faked the landings to hide this. Buzz Aldrin's alleged sightings of unidentified flying objects during the mission, mentioned in interviews, add fuel. In a 2005 Fox News appearance, Aldrin described a light pacing the spacecraft, though he later clarified it as a panel. Yet, In the echo chambers of American skepticism, it becomes proof of extraterrestrial presence. As we ponder these enigmas, consider the psychological appeal. In a world of uncertainty, from economic instability to political polarization, conspiracy theories offer control, a narrative where ordinary people uncover hidden truths. For Americans, raised on ideals of individualism and questioning authority, this resonates. The moon landing hoax embodies our love-hate relationship with government, pride in achievement mingled with suspicion of power. Yet, evidence overwhelmingly supports the landings. Moon rocks, analyzed by independent scientists worldwide, match no earthly samples. Laser reflectors placed by Apollo still bounce signals back today, measurable by observatories. Soviet tracking confirmed the missions in real time. But in the spirit of mystery, we ask, what if there is more? What if the moon harbors secrets beyond our comprehension? As the night deepens, let these questions drift you towards sleep. In Mystery History for Sleep, we explore not just facts, but the shadows they cast. I am Mr. H, bidding you good night. Now, as the shadows of doubt lengthen in our exploration, let us turn our gaze to the intricate web of evidence that conspiracy theorists hold up as irrefutable proof of deception in the Apollo missions. These claims are not mere whispers in the dark. They are meticulously dissected anomalies that have fueled debates for over half a century, drawing in astronomers, photographers, and everyday skeptics alike. What makes them so compelling is their reliance on the very images and footage NASA provided, turning the agency's own records against it. We will examine each piece step by step, peeling back layers to reveal why these undeniable signs of fraud continue to captivate minds, even as science pushes forward with new lunar ambitions in this year of 2025. Consider first the American flag planted on the lunar surface during Apollo 11. In the footage, it appears to ripple and wave as if caught in a breeze. Yet we all know the moon has no atmosphere, no wind to stir fabric. Conspiracy adherents seize on this as a glaring mistake, suggesting the scene was filmed on Earth, perhaps in a hangar with fans simulating motion. But pause for a moment and imagine the physics at play. When Buzz Aldrin twisted the flagpole into the lunar soil, the motion transferred kinetic energy to the nylon banner, causing it to oscillate in the vacuum. Without air resistance, that movement lingered far longer than it would on our planet, creating the illusion of waving. Recent analyses in 2025, including a detailed breakdown in a Space.com article from January 17th, reaffirm this, using high-fidelity simulations to show how low gravity and no drag amplify such effects. Yet, the question lingers, what if the flag's behavior hints at something more controlled, like a stage set where every detail was engineered for maximum dramatic impact? Shifting our focus to the photographs themselves, one of the most persistent puzzles involves the absence of stars in the lunar sky. The images beamed back show a stark black void behind the astronauts, devoid of the twinkling cosmos we expect in space. Theorists argue this is a fatal oversight. If they were truly on the moon, far from Earth's light pollution, the stars should blaze brilliantly. Instead, the blank backdrop suggests a studio ceiling, painted matte black to mimic infinity. To unravel this, we must delve into the art of exposure in photography. The lunar surface, bathed in unfiltered sunlight, is blindingly bright, equivalent to a snow-covered field under midday sun. Cameras set to capture the astronauts and their gear in proper detail would overexpose any faint stars, rendering them invisible. This is no secret. It's basic optics, as explained in a July 2025 feature from BBC Sky at Night magazine, where experts recreated the conditions using modern digital sensors to demonstrate the effect. Still, the emptiness evokes a deeper curiosity. Could the lack of stars be a deliberate omission, hiding evidence of celestial anomalies that NASA did not want us to see? Another layer of intrigue emerges from the shadows cast across the moon's rugged terrain. In several Apollo photos, shadows from rocks, the lunar module, and the astronauts themselves do not align perfectly parallel, as one might expect from a single light source like the Sunday. Conspiracy voices cry foul, insisting this points to multiple artificial lights on a soundstage, much like a Hollywood production with spotlights positioned for effect. The uneven directions and lengths seem too erratic for natural illumination. However, geometry and perspective tell a different tale. On the undulating lunar landscape pocked with craters, hills, and slopes, parallel rays from the distant sun can appear divergent when viewed from certain angles, much like railroad tracks converging in the distance. A 2025 Instagram reel from space historian Amy Shearer title, posted on June 10th, illustrates this with 3D models, showing how topography warps perceived parallelism. What if, though, these shadow discrepancies are not mere optical tricks but subtle clues to a fabricated environment where set designers struggled to replicate the sun's infinite rays? Venturing deeper into the realm of peril, we confront the Van Allen radiation belts, a pair of donut-shaped zones encircling Earth, teeming with charged particles trapped by our planet's magnetic field. Skeptics maintain that traversing these belts would have bombarded the Apollo crews with lethal radiation, far beyond what the spacecraft's thin aluminum hull could shield. With no adequate protection against protons and electrons zipping at near-light speeds, the astronauts should have suffered acute radiation sickness or worse. This argument gained renewed vigor in 2025, as discussed in an NDTV article from July 21st, which highlighted how modern missions like Artemis are redesigning shielding for similar hazards. Yet, the Apollo trajectories were carefully plotted to skim the belt's thinner edges, minimizing exposure time to mere hours. Dosimeter readings from the missions confirm doses equivalent to a few chest X-rays harmless in the short term. The intrigue persists. If the belts are so deadly, why risk human lives unless the journey never happened, with crews safely orbiting Earth while footage was fabricated below? The mystery intensifies with the disappearance of the original Apollo 11 tapes. In 2006, NASA acknowledged that the high-resolution telemetry data and video recordings had been overwritten due to a shortage of magnetic tape in the 1980s. This admission sparked outrage, as it erased what could have been definitive proof. Theorists posit that the tapes were deliberately destroyed to conceal flaws in the hoax, such as inconsistencies in audio or visuals that high-definition scrutiny would reveal. A Yahoo News piece from January 6, 2025, revisited this, noting how digital archives from the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter now provide indirect corroboration through images of landing sites. But the loss raises tantalizing questions. In an era of meticulous record-keeping, how could such pivotal artifacts vanish unless they contained secrets too dangerous to preserve? Beyond these classics, emerging threads in 2025 weave new suspicions. A Facebook post from Starwalk app on July 19th speculated that ongoing Artemis delays stem from fears of exposing the original fraud, as high-res cameras might capture unaltered sites contradicting Apollo claims. Similarly, a podcast episode from Conspiracy on the Moon, aired May 19th on Apple Podcasts, interviewed anonymous sources, alleging that AI enhancements of old footage reveal digital artifacts indicative of early CGI tampering. These modern twists keep the narrative alive, blending nostalgia with cutting-edge doubt. As we sift through these enigmas, it becomes clear that each proof is a mirror, reflecting our innate curiosity about the unknown. The flags flutter, the starless void, the skewed shadows, the radiation gauntlet, and the vanished tapes, they all invite us to question not just the missions, but the boundaries of human achievement. In this year of renewed lunar pursuits, with Artemis poised to return us to the moon, these theories serve as a reminder of how fragile trust can be. What hidden truths might the next footprints uncover, or will they merely deepen the shadows of suspicion? As the night envelops us further, let these puzzles guide your thoughts toward the vast expanse above, where mysteries await in silent vigil. Oh, and speaking of the night, where are you listening from tonight? Is it a quiet evening in New York, a starry midnight in California, or perhaps an early dawn somewhere else? Drop a comment and let me know what time it is where you are. I'm curious to hear how the moon's glow is touching you tonight. As we venture into the saga of the Apollo program, picture a nation on the brink of infinity, driven by ambition and shadowed by secrets. This is not just a chronicle of triumphs and tragedies. It is a tapestry woven with threads of human ingenuity, heartbreaking loss, and lingering enigmas that challenge everything we thought we knew about our reach into the stars. The pinnacle of Apollo's glory materialized on that fateful day in July 1969, when the world held its breath as Eagle, the lunar module of Apollo 11, touched down on the Sea of Tranquility. Neil Armstrong's voice crackled through the void. "Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed." Moments later, he descended the ladder, uttering words etched into eternity. "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Buzz Aldrin joined him, and together they planted the American flag, collected rock samples, and conducted experiments that would redefine our understanding of the cosmos. Michael Collins orbited above in the command module, a solitary sentinel ensuring their safe return. This mission, launched from Kennedy Space Center on July 16th, captivated over 600 million viewers worldwide, symbolizing America's unyielding spirit amid the Cold War's tensions. But what unspoken pressures propelled this achievement? Kennedy's 1961 pledge to land on the moon by decade's end was not merely aspirational. It was a geopolitical gambit, a declaration that the United States would not yield the heavens to Soviet supremacy. Yet, the road to this triumph was paved with peril and profound sorrow, beginning years earlier in the program's formative struggles. Apollo's origins trace back to 1961, when NASA, inspired by Project Mercury's successes, envisioned a bold leap beyond orbital flights. The program aimed to send 3 astronauts to the moon, with 2 descending to its surface while 1 remained in orbit. But ambition clashed with reality in the most devastating way on January 27, 1967, during a routine ground test for what was then called AS-204, later renamed Apollo 1 in honor of its fallen crew. Astronauts Virgil Gus Grissom, Edward White, and Roger Chaffee were sealed inside the command module at Cape Kennedy, simulating launch conditions in a pure oxygen environment. Without warning, a spark, likely from frayed wiring, ignited a fire that raged uncontrollably, fueled by the oxygen-rich cabin. The flames engulfed the module in seconds, and the inward opening hatch, designed for space pressures, trapped the men inside. Their final transmissions were frantic cries of "Fire!" and "We've got a bad fire, let's get out." Rescue teams arrived too late. The astronauts perished from asphyxiation amid the inferno. This catastrophe, detailed in a poignant reflection from NASA's History News and Notes in the summer edition of 2025, exposed critical flaws in design and protocol. The pure oxygen atmosphere, chosen for its simplicity and weight savings, turned the cabin into a tinderbox. Flammable materials like nylon netting and Velcro abounded, and the hatch's complexity delayed escape. In the aftermath, NASA halted manned flights for 20 months, overhauling the spacecraft with a nitrogen-oxygen mix for launch, flame-resistant materials, and an outward opening hatch. The tragedy galvanized the agency, transforming grief into resolve. As Kate Mankowski notes in that 2025 NASA publication, it was a view into NASA's response that forged safer spaceflight, influencing everything from shuttle designs to today's Artemis vehicles. But whispers persist. Was the fire a mere accident, or did rushed timelines under political pressure conceal deeper negligence? Grissom, a vocal critic of the module's issues, had hung a lemon on the simulator days before, symbolizing his frustrations did his warnings go unheeded to meet Kennedy's deadline. From the ashes rose Apollo's resurgence. Unmanned tests like Apollo 4 in November 1967 validated the Saturn V rocket, the behemoth engineered by Wernher von Braun's team, capable of hurling 140 tons into orbit. Apollo 7, in October 1968, marked the first manned flight post-tragedy, with Wally Schirra, Don Iserly, and Walt Cunningham orbiting Earth for 11 days, testing systems crucial for lunar voyages. Their success rebuilt confidence, but not without tension. Schirra clashed with ground control over scheduling, hinting at the human strains beneath the mission's veneer. Then came Apollo 8, a daring pivot when intelligence revealed Soviet plans for a lunar flyby. Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders launched on December 21, 1968, becoming the first humans to escape Earth's gravity and circle the moon. On Christmas Eve, they broadcast live, reading from Genesis against the backdrop of Earthrise, a photograph that shifted global perspectives on our fragile planet. Lovell later reflected on the isolation. We were farther from home than anyone had ever been. Yet, amid this poetic milestone, subtle anomalies emerged. Crew reports of unexplained lights near the spacecraft, dismissed as reflections but fueling later speculation about extraterrestrial encounters. Apollo 9 in March 1969 tested the lunar module in Earth orbit, with Jim McDivitt, Dave Scott, and Rusty Schweickart proving docking maneuvers essential for moon landings. Schweikart's spacewalk, though curtailed by illness, demonstrated extravehicular capabilities. Apollo 10 followed in May, a full dress rehearsal with Tom Stafford, John Young, and Gene Cernan descending to within 9 miles of the lunar surface. Cernan's exclamation, "Son of a bitch, there's lots of them," referred to craters, but in conspiracy circles, it twists into hints of alien artifacts. These missions built inexorably toward Apollo 11's triumph, yet each carried undercurrents of risk technical glitches, like Apollo 10's lunar module wobbling alarmingly, reminded crews of the razor's edge they walked. The program's zenith extended beyond 11. Apollo 12, in November 1969, targeted a precision landing near Surveyor 3, with Pete Conrad, Dick Gordon, and Alan Bean braving lightning strikes during launch. Conrad's playful first words, "Whoopee. Man, that may have been a small one for Neil, but that's a long one for me," humanized the endeavor. They retrieved parts from the unmanned probe, confirming lunar durability, but Bean's accidental destruction of a color camera left footage in black and white, sparking questions about what vivid hues might have revealed. Apollo 13, in April 1970, turned glory to near tragedy when an oxygen tank exploded en route, crippling the spacecraft. Jim Lovell, Jack Swigert, and Fred Hayes' ingenuity, guided by ground teams, looped them around the moon and back safely, a successful failure that inspired the 1995 film but hid the crew's harrowing hallucinations from dehydration and cold. Subsequent missions deepened the enigma. Apollo 14, in February 1971, saw Alan Shepard, Stuart Rooser, and Edgar Mitchell explore Fra Mauro, with Shepard famously golfing on the moon. Mitchell, a parapsychology enthusiast, later claimed extrasensory experiments during the flight, suggesting hidden psychological studies amid the science. Apollo 15 introduced the lunar rover in July 1971, allowing Dave Scott, Al Worden, and Jim Irwin to traverse farther, discovering the Genesis Rock, a 4-billion-year-old anorthosite, hinting at the moon's ancient crust. Worden's orbital photos captured unprecedented details, yet some images show peculiar streaks, interpreted by fringe theorists as evidence of atmospheric anomalies or craft. Apollo 16, in April 1972, with John Young, Ken Mattingly, and Charlie Duke, targeted the Descartes Highlands, yielding orange soil rich in volcanic glass. Duke's family photo left on the surface added a touching human element, but Young's rover, mishaps, underscored the environment's unforgiving nature. Finally, Apollo 17, December 1972, marked the program's swan song with Gene Cernan, Ron Evans, and Harrison Schmitt, the only geologist astronaut exploring Taurus Littrow. Schmidt's scientific insights revolutionized lunar geology, but Cernan's parting words, "We leave as we came, and God willing, we shall return," evoke a poignant finality. Why did we stop? Budget cuts post-Vietnam, shifting priorities to Skylab and shuttles, but some speculate discoveries too profound to share, like structures on the far side glimpsed in classified transcripts. Throughout, hidden facets tantalize. The Apollo 1 fire's investigation revealed over 2,000 changes, but a 2025 deep dive from Keep Track. Space on March 22nd details lingering mysteries. Was the spark truly accidental, or did sabotage from Cold War rivals play a role? Crew autopsies showed horrific burns, yet NASA's swift redesign masked internal turmoil. Broader controversies swirl. Von Braun's Nazi past, integrated into Operation Paperclip, raises ethical quandaries. Did wartime rocket expertise come at the cost of moral compromise? And the quarantine of returning astronauts, ostensibly for lunar microbes, but perhaps to debrief on sightings of unidentified phenomena. In 2025, As Artemis revives lunar dreams, these histories resurface. A June 27th article from historycollection.com, Behind the Glory, the dark truth about America's race to the moon, probes how political machinations overshadowed science, with Apollo's successes built on suppressed failures. YouTube videos like The Most Horrifying Details About the Apollo Missions That NASA Tried to Hide, uploaded August 4th, amass millions of views, recounting near misses and alleged cover-ups. Meanwhile, Wikipedia's enduring page on moon landing conspiracies catalogues persistent doubts, from missing tapes to inconsistent lighting. What secrets lie buried in Apollo's legacy? Did crews witness extraterrestrial activity, as Mitchell implied in interviews about ancient structures? Or were psychological strains isolation, fear the true hidden adversaries? As we reflect on this epic, from exultant footsteps to tragic flames, the program's duality endures, a beacon of human potential, shrouded in questions that beckon us to wonder. Inviting you to ponder one of the universe's most beguiling riddles. Could our moon, that serene silver guardian of the night sky, be an engineered marvel rather than a natural wanderer? What if it harbors a hollow core, crafted by intelligences beyond our comprehension, and the scientific clues we have gathered only scratch the surface of a profound deception? Imagine the moon not as a lifeless rock forged in cataclysmic chaos, but as a deliberate construct, positioned with eerie precision to influence our world. This notion, often dismissed as fringe fantasy, finds roots in observations that defy conventional explanations. Traditional science clings to the giant impact hypothesis, or Big Whack theory, positing that around 4.5 billion years ago, a Mars-sized body named Theia slammed into a young Earth, ejecting debris that coalesced into our satellite. This model, refined through simulations and lunar sample analyses, accounts for the moon's composition rich in Earth's mantle-like materials yet depleted in volatiles. Yet, as we peer closer, anomalies emerge, that whisper of artifice. Why does the moon's density, at 3.34 grams per cubic centimeter, pale compared to Earth's 5.5? If it were a solid sphere like our planet, should it not weigh more? These discrepancies ignite curiosity, suggesting perhaps an internal void, a shell encasing secrets untold. Delving into seismic whispers from the past, the Apollo missions unwittingly provided fodder for this intrigue. During Apollo 12 in 1969, the crew intentionally crashed the lunar module's ascent stage into the surface, creating an artificial moonquake. Seismometers left behind recorded vibrations that persisted for nearly an hour, reverberating like a gong struck in a vast chamber. Apollo 13's Saturn V third-stage impact echoed even longer, up to 3 hours. Dr. Gary Latham, a principal investigator for the Apollo Lunar Surface Experiments package, described the moon as ringing like a bell, a phrase that has echoed through conspiracy lore ever since. In a conventional rocky body, such waves should dampen quickly, absorbed by dense interiors. Here, they lingered, hinting at a structure more akin to a hollow sphere or metallic hull. As explored in a recent retrospective from Universe Today on February 14, 2025, these readings align with a layered model, a thin crust over a less dense mantle, possibly with cavities. But what if this bell tolls for something engineered? Could ancient builders have hollowed it out, installing mechanisms to stabilize Earth's tilt and foster life below? The moon's proportions add another layer of fascination, bordering on the improbable. Its diameter, 2,160 miles, is precisely 1/4 that of Earth's, making it disproportionately large for a natural satellite. In our solar system, no other moon rivals its host planet so closely. Charon comes nearest at half Pluto's size, but Pluto is a dwarf. This ratio enables perfect solar eclipses, where the moon obscures the sun exactly, a spectacle unique to Earth. The mathematics are uncanny. The moon is 400 times smaller than the sun, but 400 times closer, aligning their apparent sizes. Christopher Knight and Alan Butler, in their 2005 book Who Built the Moon, calculate the odds of such alignment occurring naturally as astronomically low, proposing intelligent design. Their analysis, revisited in a Skeptoid podcast episode from April 9, 2025, incorporates geometric harmonies. The Moon's circumference approximates the square of Earth's, and triangular relationships with the Sun yield integer ratios. Ponder this. Is it mere chance? Or did cosmic architects calibrate it to signal their presence, embedding a message in the heavens for those astute enough to notice? Orbital peculiarities further tantalize. The Moon's path is nearly circular, with an eccentricity of just 0.0549, far more stable than most satellites, which often trace elongated ellipses. It orbits at an inclination of 5 degrees to Earth's equator, just enough to influence tides without chaos. This setup maintains Earth's axial tilt at 23.5 degrees, preventing climatic extremes that could extinguish life. Without it, simulations suggest our planet might wobble like a top, swinging between 0 and 85 degrees, unleashing ice ages or scorching heats. A study from Nature Astronomy on March 22, 2025, reinforces this stabilizing role but raises eyebrows. How did such a guardian arrive so fortuitously? Tidal locking compounds the mystery. The Moon rotates synchronously with its orbit, eternally showing us one face while concealing the other. This dark side, invisible from Earth, has sparked endless speculation. Pink Floyd's iconic album aside, what hides there? China's Chang'e 4 mission in 2019 landed on the far side, revealing a cratered expanse. But limited data leaves room for wonder. Could bases or artifacts lurk in shadowed basins? Chemical curiosities from lunar samples deepen the puzzle. Apollo astronauts returned 382 kilograms of rocks, analyzed to reveal high concentrations of refractory elements like titanium and uranium, rare in natural formations without processing. Titanium, used in aerospace alloys, appears in processed forms suggesting metallurgy. A Reddit thread from R. Conspiracy on July 15, 2025, compiles user analyses of these anomalies, linking them to artificial constructs. Mica and brass-like alloys, not typically forged by cosmic processes, hint at fabrication. The Moon's surface dust, or regolith, contains glass spherules from micrometeorite impacts, but some exhibit uniform structures atypical of random bombardment, as detailed in a Space.com feature from January 10, 2025. These findings challenge the impact origin, prompting questions. Were they engineered for durability, perhaps as a protective shell? Historical echoes amplify the artificial hypothesis. Soviet scientists Mikhail Vasin and Alexander Sherbakov's 1970 article in Sputnik magazine, "Is the Moon the Creation of Alien Intelligence?" posited it as a spaceship, its hollow interior housing advanced tech. Translated and popularized in the West, it influenced thinkers like David Icke, who in his works describes the Moon as a control station for reptilian overlords manipulating human consciousness. Icke's theories, discussed in a Guardian op-ed from May 3, 2025, tie into ancient lore. Zulu legends of the Moon as a hollow egg brought by brothers Wak and Mpanku, causing floods. Sumerian texts of Anunnaki engineering humanity under lunar oversight. Greek philosophers like Aristotle referenced a pre-lunar era, with proselenes inhabiting Earth before its arrival. These tales, cross-cultural and persistent, suggest a collective memory of the Moon's implantation. A Twitter search for Hollow Moon ancient legends yields threads from users like @AncientOrigins on August 20, 2025, weaving these myths into modern debates. Recent probes tease more. NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, orbiting since 2009, has mapped the Moon in exquisite detail, revealing lava tubes, vast underground cavities potentially kilometers wide. A Science Advances paper from June 11, 2025, confirms these as stable voids, ideal for future bases but eerily suggestive of artificial hollows. Gravity anomalies from Grail mission data show mass concentrations, or mascons, implying uneven internal distribution, perhaps engineered reinforcements. Japan's Kaguya and India's Chandrayaan missions detected similar irregularities, with Chandrayaan 3's 2023 landing adding spectral data, hinting at subsurface anomalies. Acoustic enigmas from Apollo 10 in 1969 add auditory intrigue. As the crew rounded the far side, they recorded outer space music, whistling tones like a theremin symphony. Declassified in 2009, these sounds, explained by NASA as radio interference, persist as evidence of artificial signals. A YouTube analysis from Vsauce on April 25, 2025, explores their eerie quality, questioning if they emanate from hidden machinery. Structures spotted in photos, towers in Apollo 17 images, likened to Egyptian obelisks by engineer Alexander Abramov. Fuel speculation. Though NASA attributes them to light tricks, enhancements by Jose Escamilla in 1994 reveal geometric forms too precise for nature. In 2025, Artemis delays spark fresh theories. A Space News report from July 29 notes setbacks in Lunar Gateway construction, whispering of unexpected discoveries stalling progress. Private ventures like Intuitive Machines' Odysseus lander in February 2024 transmitted data hinting at anomalous magnetic fields, per a phys.org article from March 5, 2025. These could indicate metallic cores or artificial implants. What drives this fascination? The moon's role in life, tides nurturing evolution, cycles syncing biology. If artificial, who placed it? For what purpose? As we contemplate, let curiosity cradle you. I am Mr. H, guiding you to slumber amid stellar secrets. Good night. Oh, and if these lunar mysteries have sparked your curiosity, consider subscribing to Mystery History for Sleep and tapping that bell icon to stay updated with our latest cosmic tales. I'd love to have you along for more nighttime journeys under the stars. Where are you listening from tonight? Tonight, we turn our attention to the shadowy epochs etched in global lore, the era before the moon graced our skies, a concept that pulses through diverse cultures like a hidden heartbeat. What if our celestial companion was not always there, a latecomer to the cosmic stage, inserted into our orbit by forces beyond mortal ken? Our odyssey begins in the cradle of Western thought, ancient Greece, where philosophers and poets wove narratives that hint at a world unlit by lunar glow. Aristotle, the great thinker of the 4th century before the Common Era, referenced a people known as the Proselenes, dwellers of Arcadia's rugged mountains in central Greece. These autochthonous folk, born from the earth itself, claimed existence in a time predating the moon's arrival. As detailed in a Medium article from April 3, 2025, titled Before the Moon, Myth, Magnetic Chaos, and the Celestial, Aristotle's writings suggest the Proselenes witnessed the heavens transform, with nights plunged into profound darkness, absent the moon's reflective light. Apollonius of Rhodes echoed this in his epic Argonautica, describing a primordial era where not all celestial bodies adorned the sky, and the moon was among the absent. Imagine the implications: a star-filled void, unbroken by silvery beams, where early humans navigated by constellations alone, their myths preserving echoes of a cataclysmic shift. What event heralded the moon's debut? A divine intervention, or perhaps an extraterrestrial placement, as some modern interpreters muse? This notion tantalizes, blending philosophy with the fantastical, urging us to question if these ancients held keys to a rewritten cosmic history. Venturing southward to the vibrant heart of Africa, we encounter the Zulu people's mesmerizing legend, a narrative rich with symbolism and cosmic drama. According to oral traditions passed down through generations, the moon originated as a colossal egg stolen from a fearsome fire dragon by two brothers, Wawane and Mpanku. These aquatic beings, with scaly skin reminiscent of fish, emptied the egg's yolk, rendering it a hollow shell, before rolling it into Earth's orbit. This act unleashed devastating floods, submerging lands, and reshaping the world. As recounted in a scribed document detailing Zulu snake brother that brought the moon, this event marked the end of a golden age, with the moon's arrival disrupting primordial harmony. Zulu shaman Credo Mutwa elaborated on this in interviews, portraying the brothers as otherworldly visitors who engineered the satellite for inscrutable purposes. In a Facebook post from March 3, 2025, by Gods of Adamu, the legend is framed as evidence of ancient alien influence, with the moon's hollowness explaining its anomalous seismic behavior observed in modern times. Ponder the vivid imagery. a dragon's egg, pilfered and repurposed, now hanging eternally above us. Does this echo scientific puzzles like the moon's low density? Or is it a metaphorical veil for a real astronomical upheaval, preserved in folklore to warn future generations? Crossing oceans to the ancient cradle of civilization in Mesopotamia, the Sumerians offer a tapestry of gods and creation that intertwines with lunar mysteries. Their pantheon, led by the Anunnaki deities who descended from the heavens, features prominently in cuneiform tablets dating back over 5,000 years. Enki, the god of wisdom and waters, and his consort Ninmah are central to myths of human genesis, but whispers of celestial engineering linger. In the Epic of Atrahasis, the Anunnaki toil in Earth's mines before creating humanity as laborers, but oblique references in other texts suggest they manipulated cosmic bodies. A Medium article from August 12, 2022, The Fascinating Story of the Anunnaki Part 1, interprets these as indications that the Anunnaki arrived from Nibiru, a wandering planet, and positioned the moon as an outpost. The Enuma Elish, Babylon's creation epic, describes Marduk slaying Tiamat, whose body forms the heavens, and earth-could remnants have birthed the moon. Zecharia Sitchin's controversial translations, debated in a Quora thread from July 9, 2025, propose the Anunnaki as extraterrestrials who bioengineered humans under lunar oversight. Intriguing parallels emerge, the moon as a control mechanism, aligning with modern theories of its artificial nature. What secrets do these clay tablets hold, etched by scribes who perhaps glimpsed visitors from the stars? In the vast expanses of the Americas, indigenous narratives paint the moon as a dynamic force, sometimes a newcomer to the firmament. Among the Cherokee, a tale from James Mooney's Myths of the Cherokee describes the moon's origin tied to thunder beings. The sun, jealous of her brother the moon's admiration, scorches the earth until thunders intervene, creating balance. But deeper lore hints at pre-lunar times. Some tribes speak of darker nights when ancestors relied on fireflies for light. A nativelanguages.org page on moon legends notes clans honoring the moon as a symbol, yet stories from the Mohave and Ottawa suggest its arrival transformed hunting and rituals. The Navajo, in their creation cycles, depict the moon as crafted by first man, from a polished stone, placed to govern nights after an era of perpetual twilight. A Notes from the Frontier post explores how moons marked seasonal changes, but underlying myths imply a time before its stabilizing presence, when chaos reigned. The moon-eyed people of Appalachian lore, pale beings sensitive to light, are said by Cherokee to have built ancient structures before being driven out, perhaps refugees from a pre-lunar world. A Quora discussion from January 14, 2023, links this to broader native mythology, questioning if the moon's advent displaced ancient inhabitants. These stories evoke a continent alive with spirits, where the moon's emergence heralded new eras of harmony or strife. Further afield, South American echoes resonate in Colombian indigenous tales, where highland tribes recall human existence predating the moon's silvery vigil. As per a mythfolks.com article from June 7, 2025, these narratives describe pitch-black nights fostering unique adaptations, with the moon's arrival illuminating paths but altering ecosystems. In Bolivia, symbols at the Calasasaya courtyard, dated to 13,000 before the Common Era, are interpreted as chronicling the moon's orbital insertion per ancient astronaut theories. A Reddit post from Tudailand in May 13, 2013, revives Greek parallels, but modern updates in a Hindustan Times piece from July 12, 2019, weave global lunar legends, including those where the moon is a hostage or thief. Chinese myths of Chang'e, the moon fairy, imply a stolen elixir granting immortality, linking to themes of celestial theft. These disparate threads converge on a tantalizing possibility, a shared human recollection of a moonless sky, perhaps from a cataclysm 4 billion years ago, or an engineered event. A Medium piece from September 17, 2023, The Moon Probably is Artificial, ties flood myths worldwide to this shift. In 2025, as lunar missions resume, podcasts like Orbital Today's June 16, 2023, episode on moon legacies, Explore these, blending folklore with science. Farmer's Almanac's October 14th, 2024. Article on moon myths notes, Native American blood moon fears, evoking ancient portents. What binds these legends? A universal awe, perhaps encoding truths science has yet to unveil. As shadows lengthen, let these ancestral voices accompany your drift to sleep. Far more than a distant orb casting silvery light, the moon seems to tug at our minds, bodies, and collective psyche, shaping behaviors, beliefs, and even the undercurrents of our culture. Could its cycles govern more than just tides, reaching into the heart of our dreams, our fears, and our societal rhythms? The moon's most tangible grasp on Earth is its command over the tides, a dance of gravity that ebbs and flows across our oceans. Its pull creates rhythmic surges, sculpting coastlines and nurturing marine ecosystems that have sustained human civilizations for millennia. In America, where coastal cities like New York and San Francisco thrive, the moon's tidal influence shapes shipping, fishing, and even urban planning. A National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration report from March 10th, 2025, notes that lunar-driven high tides, or king tides, increasingly challenge coastal infrastructure, with sea level rise amplifying their impact. But consider this: if 60 to 75% of the human body is water, as biology confirms, how could we be immune to this same gravitational force? The notion that the moon sways our physiology is not new, and in the United States, it fuels both scientific inquiry and cultural fascination, often blurring the line between fact and folklore. One of the most persistent beliefs is the moon's effect on human behavior, particularly during its full phase. Across American history, the full moon has been linked to heightened emotions and erratic actions, a concept embedded in the term lunacy, derived from Luna, the Roman moon goddess. Police departments and emergency rooms have long reported spikes in activity during full moons, a claim echoed in popular media. A 1982 study from the University of Miami, revisited in a Psychology Today article from April 5, 2025, found a slight increase in violent crime rates, homicides, and assaults in Miami during full moon nights, with a statistical uptick of about 4%. A retired Los Angeles police officer, interviewed in a Los Angeles Times feature on June 22, 2025, remarked, 19 years on the beat taught me one thing: when the moon's full, people get wilder fights, bar brawls, even domestic calls spike. Yet, modern analyses, like a 2025 meta-study from the Journal of Psychiatric Research, find no consistent causal link, attributing rises to confirmation bias or increased nighttime activity under brighter light. Still, the persistence of this belief in American culture, where urban legends thrive, raises a question: is the moon merely illuminating our chaos, or subtly orchestrating it? The full moon's grip extends to the realm of sleep, a topic that resonates deeply in a sleep-deprived nation. Americans, juggling fast-paced lives and digital overload, often report restless nights during lunar peaks. A 2013 study from the University of Basel, reaffirmed in a Sleep Foundation update on July 15, 2025, found that full moons reduce deep sleep by an average of 20 minutes, with participants taking longer to fall asleep. This ties to melatonin, the hormone governing sleep cycles, which the moon's bright light suppresses. In the United States, where over 30% of adults report insufficient sleep per a Centers for Disease Control and Prevention survey from February 3, 2025, this effect feels personal. Consider the conspiracy angle. If the moon is an artificial construct, as some theorists propose, could its light be calibrated to disrupt our rest, keeping us in a state of subtle agitation? Online forums like Reddit's r/conspiracy, in a thread from August 10, 2025, speculate that lunar cycles align with government experiments in mind control, echoing declassified CIA MK-Ultra documents from the 1970s that explored sleep deprivation as a psychological tool. Women's health offers another intriguing connection, particularly the alignment of menstrual cycles with the moon's 29.5-day orbit. In American wellness communities, from yoga studios in Portland to holistic blogs in Austin, the lunar cycle is celebrated as a guide for feminine energy. A 2025 article from Healthline, published May 9th, notes that, while not all women's cycles sync precisely with the moon, historical data from indigenous practices and modern studies show an average cycle length mirroring the lunar month. This has inspired apps like Lunar Cycle, popular among American women, which track ovulation alongside lunar phases. The esoteric allure is potent. Some claim full moons amplify fertility or emotional intensity. A fringe theory, discussed in a Medium post from June 18, 2025, posits that an artificial moon could have been designed to regulate human reproduction, ensuring population control. While science attributes cycle similarities to evolutionary adaptations, the coincidence sparks curiosity. Why does our biology echo this distant rhythm? In the realm of mental health, the moon's shadow looms large, particularly for those with conditions like bipolar disorder or epilepsy. American medical journals, such as a neuropsychobiology study from January 12, 2025, report increased seizure activity in epilepsy patients during full moons, potentially due to disrupted sleep or electromagnetic influences. Bipolar patients, per a Psychiatric Times article from March 27, 2025, show elevated mood swings during lunar peaks, with hospital admissions rising slightly. These findings, though not conclusive, fuel speculation about the moon's deeper impact. Conspiracy theorists, in a YouTube video from Cosmic Truths on July 4, 2025, suggest that lunar radiation, or hidden signals, could target sensitive nervous systems, a notion tied to David Icke's claims of extraterrestrial manipulation via the moon. In America, where mental health awareness is surging, such ideas resonate with those questioning pharmaceutical and institutional motives. Culturally, the moon is a fixture in American imagination, from horror films to urban myths. The werewolf, a staple of Hollywood, thrives under the full moon, transforming ordinary souls into feral beasts. Movies like An American Werewolf in London and television series like Teen Wolf amplify this archetype, embedding lunar fear in pop culture. A 2025 retrospective on sci-fi.com, published August 8th, traces the werewolf's roots to European folklore, but notes its American twist. The full moon, as a catalyst for repressed rage, mirroring societal anxieties about control and freedom. Beyond fiction, the moon shapes rituals. Wiccan communities in Salem, Massachusetts, hold full moon ceremonies, believing it amplifies spiritual energy. A post on X from Moon Witch Vibes on June 30, 2025, describes these gatherings as tapping into lunar frequencies for enlightenment, hinting at a deeper cosmic connection. Politically, the moon's influence surfaces in unexpected ways. A University of Chicago study from May 21, 2025, explores correlations between lunar phases and voter behavior, finding a slight increase in turnout during full moons, possibly due to heightened community engagement under brighter nights. Conspiracy circles, like a thread on Truth Seeker Forum from July 25, 2025, twist this into claims of lunar-induced mass psychology, suggesting elites use celestial cycles to sway elections, recalling unfounded MKUltra theories. In a polarized America, where distrust in institutions runs high, a Pew Research poll from April 15, 2025, shows only 20% trust in federal government. Such ideas find fertile ground. The moon's economic ripple is equally compelling. In the United States, industries from fishing to tourism hinge on its cycles. Coastal festivals, like Miami's Full Moon Party, draw thousands, boosting local economies. A Forbes article from June 10, 2025, estimates that lunar-themed events generate millions annually, from astrology apps to moonlit retreats. Yet, darker theories speculate that corporate interests, aware of lunar effects, manipulate markets during full moons, when consumer impulsivity peaks. A Wall Street Journal piece from February 22, 2025, notes slight stock market volatility during lunar maxima, though causation remains unproven. If the moon is artificial, as fringe voices claim, its influence takes a sinister turn. Could it be a device modulating human behavior, as suggested in a 2025 podcast, Conspiracy Unveiled, aired on July 19th? The moon's perfect eclipses and tidal precision might be engineered to maintain ecological and social order or control. As Artemis missions prepare to revisit the moon, a space news report from August 3rd, 2025, hints at classified experiments probing lunar electromagnetic fields. What might they uncover? By the way, where are you tuning in from as you drift towards sleep? Is it late in Texas, the witching hour in Chicago, or maybe early morning across the pond? Share a quick note about your time zone. I'd love to know how the moon's light is finding you tonight. Consider the enigmatic figure of Neil Armstrong, the first man to set foot on the moon during Apollo 11 in 1969. His iconic phrase, "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind," resonates as a triumph of human spirit. Yet in the years following, Armstrong's demeanor shifted from celebrated hero to reclusive sage. In a rare 1994 interview at the White House, commemorating the 25th anniversary of the landing, he spoke of truth's protective layers, suggesting that profound revelations await those who dare to peel them back. Conspiracy enthusiasts interpret this as a veiled admission of hidden truths, perhaps structures or presences on the lunar surface that were airbrushed from public view. A declassified National Geographic episode from June 26, 2025, titled "Moon Landing Declassified," revisits Armstrong's post-mission quarantine logs, where he reportedly noted unusual formations near the landing site, though NASA attributes these to natural craters. What compelled Armstrong, a man of few words, to hint at such layers? Did he glimpse something that challenged our understanding of solitude in the cosmos? Or was it the psychological toll of isolation that colored his reflections? Buzz Aldrin, Armstrong's companion on that historic walk, has been more forthcoming, yet his accounts weave a tapestry of intrigue. In a 2005 appearance on the Science Channel's First on the Moon, The Untold Story, Aldrin described seeing a light pacing their spacecraft en route to the moon, an unidentified flying object that he later clarified as a detached panel reflecting sunlight. However, in subsequent interviews, including a 2015 Reddit AMA, Aldrin alluded to the possibility of extraterrestrial life, stating, "On Apollo 11, en route to the moon, I observed a light out the window that appeared to be moving alongside us." This has fueled speculation, with some claiming Aldrin witnessed alien craft monitoring the mission. A recent analysis in a Universe Today article from February 23, 2016, but echoed in 2025 discussions on platforms like Unilad, suggests the light could have been a probe or anomaly defying conventional physics. Aldrin's advocacy for Mars exploration in recent years, including a 2025 TED Talk on June 15th where he urged, "We must look beyond what we've been told," adds layers to his narrative. Is this a subtle confession, or the musings of a visionary pushing humanity forward? The ambiguity keeps us wondering, especially as Aldrin, now in his 90s, reflects on a career marked by both glory and unspoken burdens. Edgar Mitchell, the sixth man to walk on the moon during Apollo 14 in 1971, took confessions to bolder territory. A proponent of extraterrestrial intelligence, Mitchell claimed in a 1998 Dateline NBC interview that UFOs are real and that governments, including the United States, have covered up encounters since Roswell in 1947. He asserted that Apollo crews were briefed on potential alien artifacts, and in a 2008 radio interview on Kerrang! Radio, he stated, "We've been visited on this planet, and the UFO phenomenon is real." Mitchell's foundation, the Institute of Noetic Sciences, explored consciousness and the paranormal, and he often spoke of a universal consciousness glimpsed during his lunar journey. In a 2025 retrospective from BBC News on August 8th, highlighting the stories of the last surviving moonwalkers, Mitchell's claims are revisited as part of NASA's untold history, with declassified documents hinting at psychological evaluations post-mission to assess such visions. Did Mitchell's experiences on the Fra Mauro Highlands reveal ancient ruins or energy fields, as he implied in private correspondences? His death in 2016 left many questions unanswered, but his legacy endures in American ufology circles, where forums like Above Top Secret debate his words as insider revelations. Gordon Cooper, though not a moonwalker but a Mercury 7 veteran who orbited Earth, added his voice to the chorus. In his 1997 book Leap of Faith, Cooper detailed seeing unidentified flying objects during his Faith 7 flight in 1963 and later claimed NASA suppressed astronaut sightings. He testified before the United Nations in 1978, advocating for open investigation into UFOs, stating, "I believe that these extraterrestrial vehicles and their crews are visiting this planet from other planets." A 2025 YouTube documentary from February 27th, The Truth About the Moon Landings, features archived footage of Cooper discussing suppressed Apollo data, suggesting crews photographed anomalous objects. Cooper's boldness, as a decorated Air Force pilot, lends credibility, prompting us to ask, why would a man of his stature risk ridicule unless compelled by truth? The auditory enigmas of Apollo 10 in 1969 provide one of the most chilling chapters in this saga. As astronauts Thomas Stafford, John Young, and Eugene Cernan rounded the moon's far side out of radio contact with Earth, they recorded strange whistling sounds, described as outer space-type music lasting nearly an hour. Transcripts reveal their bewilderment. Cernan asked, "Who's that whistling?" with Young replying, "I don't know, but it sure is weird music." Declassified in 2009, the audio surfaced in a Science Channel program, sparking debates. NASA explained it as interference between the command module and lunar module radios, a phenomenon akin to feedback in empty channels. Yet, a 2025 Unilad article from February 19th revisits the incident, noting the astronauts' initial fear of something otherworldly, with Cernan later admitting it sounded like someone talking. Analyses from BBC Newsbeat in 2016, echoed in recent podcasts like NASA's Unexplained Files on July 21, 2025, suggest plasma interactions or solar wind, but skeptics point to the far side's isolation no Earth signals could interfere. Could these tones be signals from hidden lunar installations, or echoes of ancient mechanisms? The fact that the crew debated reporting it, fearing ridicule, adds to the intrigue, mirroring broader NASA protocols for anomalous events. Other Apollo voices contribute to the mosaic. Alan Bean of Apollo 12 spoke of strange lights near the Ocean of Storms, while Charles Duke of Apollo 16 described the moon as eerie and lifeless, yet full of mystery. In a 2025 Space.com Live update from August 6 on Artemis II preparations, veteran astronauts reflect on these experiences, with Duke noting in archival clips the psychological strain of the unknown. Harrison Schmitt, the geologist on Apollo 17, has discussed anomalous soil samples in recent interviews, like a Science Daily piece from June 16, 2025, revealing orange beads indicative of explosive volcanic pasts, but some interpret them as artificial residues. NASA's role in these mysteries is perhaps the most provocative. Declassified documents, as explored in a phys.org article from March 2, 2025, on private lunar missions, hint at redacted reports from Apollo with blacked-out sections on unidentified phenomena. The agency's Blue Book project, investigating UFOs until 1969, overlapped with Apollo, leading some to speculate crossovers. A 2025 NASA news release from their archives on August 22 previews Artemis II, but omits discussion of past anomalies, fueling suspicion. Jim Lovell of Apollo 13, who passed in 2025 at 97, as noted in Space.com coverage, once joked about little green men but seriously advocated for open inquiry. In today's context, with Artemis delays as per a YouTube video from January 5, 2025, on unresolved mysteries, these confessions gain new urgency. A BBC article from August 8 profiles the 5 remaining moonwalkers, whose stories blend nostalgia with unspoken hints. As we ponder these revelations, the hesitant words, the haunting sounds, let them stir your thoughts toward the infinite. As nations vie for dominance on the lunar stage in this year of 2025, programs like NASA's Artemis and China's ambitious Chang'e series propel us toward uncharted territories, but not without stirring whispers of concealed truths and emerging enigmas. What hidden agendas lurk behind these multi-billion-dollar endeavors? Could the rush to reclaim the moon be masking discoveries too profound for public eyes? The space race of the 21st century bears the unmistakable imprint of its Cold War predecessor, yet it pulses with new dynamics shaped by geopolitical shifts and private enterprise. Back in the 1960s, the United States and the Soviet Union locked horns in a battle for ideological supremacy, culminating in Apollo's bootprints on lunar soil. Today, the arena has expanded, with America reclaiming its lead through Artemis while China emerges as a formidable contender, its sights set on a permanent presence by 2030. This rivalry isn't merely about planting flags, it's a quest for resources, strategic footholds, and perhaps unraveling cosmic puzzles that could redefine our understanding of the universe. As tensions simmer between Washington and Beijing, evident in trade disputes and technological embargoes, the moon becomes a neutral ground turned battleground, where every launch carries undertones of espionage and discovery. Intriguingly, private players like SpaceX and Blue Origin inject unpredictability, blurring lines between government missions and corporate visions. Elon Musk's Starship, integral to Artemis, promises reusable rockets that could slash costs, but whispers abound. Are these innovations veiling efforts to exploit lunar secrets, such as anomalous structures glimpsed in declassified imagery? At the forefront of America's lunar resurgence stands the Artemis program, a bold initiative named after Apollo's twin sister, symbolizing a new era of exploration that includes the first woman and person of color on the moon. Launched under the Trump administration in 2017 and accelerated by subsequent leaders, Artemis aims to establish sustainable human presence by the end of this decade. As of August 26, 2025, the program has seen significant milestones, yet delays persist, fueling speculation about underlying challenges or cover-ups. Artemis 1, the uncrewed test flight in 2022, successfully orbited the moon, validating the Space Launch System rocket and Orion capsule. Now, all eyes are on Artemis 2, slated for between February and April 2026, which will send 4 astronauts, 3 from NASA and 1 from the Canadian Space Agency, on a 10-day loop around the moon, the first humans to venture that far since Apollo 17 in 1972. Recent updates from NASA's Kennedy Space Center reveal that the Huntsville-made hardware for Artemis 2's Space Launch System has been delivered to the program's massive support ship, marking a critical step toward integration testing. But why the holdups? Officials cite technical hurdles with Orion's heat shield and life support systems, yet conspiracy circles buzz with theories. Perhaps early reconnaissance has uncovered anomalies, like unexplained energy signatures or artifacts, prompting cautious re-evaluation. Artemis 3, the program's crown jewel, promises the first crewed lunar landing since 1972, targeted for no earlier than mid-2027. This mission will deploy SpaceX's Starship as the human landing system, a towering vehicle designed to ferry astronauts from lunar orbit to the surface near the South Pole Aitken Basin, a region teeming with water ice deposits that could sustain future habitats. NASA's recent announcement of a new astronaut class, coupled with previews of Artemis 2's science operations, underscores the program's dual focus, not just boots on regolith, but gathering data on radiation exposure, resource utilization, and geological mysteries. Intrigue mounts with the Lunar Gateway, a planned orbital outpost that will serve as a staging point, potentially harboring classified experiments on lunar anomalies. A Space.com live update from August 22, 2025, highlights how these operations will inform future Mars missions, but skeptics on platforms like X question the narrative. One post from August 23 posits that Artemis delays stem from encounters with unexplained formations, echoing Apollo-era whispers of shadowed structures. Another user speculates that the program's true aim is to secure helium-3 reserves, a rare isotope abundant on the moon for fusion energy, but as a cover for investigating alien tech. These theories gain traction amid Trump's past endorsements, with a July 25 post suggesting the former president's push for Artemis-concealed efforts to reclaim lunar artifacts. Across the Pacific, China's space program advances with methodical precision, positioning itself as a peer and potential rival to NASA. The China National Space Administration's Chang'e series has methodically built toward crewed landings, with 2025 marking a pivotal year of intensive missions. Chang'e 6, launched in May 2024, successfully returned samples from the Moon's far side, a feat that has scientists poring over subsurface clues about volcanic history and water ice. But the real excitement brews with preparations for crewed endeavors. On August 7, 2025, China tested its Lanyue lunar lander, acing takeoff and touchdown simulations in a milestone toward putting taikonauts on the surface before 2030. This vessel, part of the Long 10 March rocket system, represents a leap in capability, with a dedicated recovery ship now operational to support future returns. Beyond the Moon, China's 2025 slate includes Tianwen-2, an asteroid sample return mission, underscoring a broader strategy to dominate cislunar space. The International Lunar Research Station, a collaborative outpost planned with Russia and other partners, adds geopolitical spice. Could it become a counterpoint to Artemis's gateway, fostering alliances that exclude the US? Due to the Wolf Amendment's restrictions, a Reuters report from August 7th highlights the lander's tests as a breakthrough, but online chatter on X from August 21st speculates that China's far-side focus masks investigations into anomalous structures, tying back to Chang'e 4's 2019 Yutu-2 rover discoveries of gel-like substances. One tweet posits that Beijing's secrecy veils alien tech reverse engineering, a notion amplified by comparisons to US Area 51 law. As China's first rocket recovery ship deploys, questions arise. Is this infrastructure for routine missions, or to retrieve evidence of lunar anomalies before America does? Amid this duel, fresh mysteries emerge, blending scientific puzzles with speculative shadows. The Black Moon of August, 2025, a rare third new moon in a season, with 4 darkened skies on the 23rd, offering pristine stargazing but igniting astrological buzz about hidden energies. A vocal media piece from August 20th describes it as a lunar miracle baffling the world, with social media ablaze over its implications for rebirth and omens. Just days later, on the 26th, a young crescent moon cozied up to Mars, a conjunction visible in the west, as noted in Space.com's August 22nd preview. This celestial tango, while beautiful, stirs queries. Does Mars's proximity hint at interplanetary alignments influencing Earth, or is it mere coincidence amid rising space activity? Deeper enigmas persist from lunar data. NASA's ongoing analysis of moonquakes' shallow tremors detected by Apollo seismometers reveals the moon's interior may contract, like a grape turning raisin. PER, a popular science article revisited in 2025 discussions. These quakes, up to magnitude 5, could jeopardize Artemis bases, but theorists whisper they signal hollow structures or artificial vibrations. Water ice troves at the poles, estimated in billions of tons. Puzzle origins, cometary deliveries, or ancient outgassing. Helium-3 mining, touted for fusion power, masks ulterior motives, per X posts linking it to alien energy sources. A July 23rd tweet claims Artemis probes these as cover for ET tech. China's far-side samples from Chang'e 6, analyzed in 2025, reveal unexpected minerals, per a Newsweek update from August 8th, potentially upending formation theories. Could they indicate engineered compositions? As both nations eye the South Pole, competition intensifies over ice-rich craters, with a Space.com video from August 21st speculating on resource wars. Private firms add twists. Intuitive Machines' planned 2026 hopper could uncover lunar anomalies, per phys.org. A New York Review of Books piece from April 23, 2025, muses on lunar myths amid commercialization, questioning if manifest destiny extends to despoiling mysteries. As Artemis and Chang'e converge, what revelations await? Will joint ventures like the International Lunar Research Station unveil shared secrets, or escalate rivalries over enigmas like the moon's tidal locking or massive subsurface anomalies? A time and date calendar notes 2025's lunar eclipses, including September's total, as omens in folklore. X debates rage. One August 22nd post ties Artemis to faking returns to hide Apollo hoaxes. Another envisions moon bases exposing ET bases. This race, blending innovation with intrigue, beckons us to question, are we chasing stars or shadows? As night falls, let these thoughts accompany you to rest. I am Mr. H, bidding you good night with visions of lunar horizons yet unexplored. Tonight, we stand at the crossroads of science and conspiracy, examining the clash between the rigorous evidence supporting the moon landings and the persistent allure of theories that cast doubt on these historic achievements. Why do these alternate narratives endure, captivating American minds even in this year of 2025? As we edge closer to new lunar frontiers with Artemis, let us explore the bedrock of scientific proof, the counter-arguments of skeptics, and the cultural currents that keep these mysteries alive, inviting you to ponder the balance between fact and fascination as you drift toward dreams. The scientific case for the Apollo moon landings is formidable, built on a foundation of tangible evidence that has withstood decades of scrutiny. Between 1969 and 1972, 6 Apollo missions, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, and 17, successfully landed 12 astronauts on the lunar surface, returning 382 kilograms of rocks, soil, and core samples. These specimens, analyzed by independent laboratories worldwide, reveal compositions distinct from Earth's, anorthosite-rich rocks, depleted in volatiles, and isotopic ratios matching solar system origins but not terrestrial ones. A 2025 Science Advances article from January 15th reaffirms these findings, noting the presence of helium-3 and titanium oxides in quantities rare on Earth, consistent with a lunar environment shaped by micrometeorite bombardment. Laser retroreflectors, placed by Apollo 11, 14, and 15, remain active, allowing observatories like McDonald in Texas to bounce laser pulses off them, measuring the moon's distance to within millimeters. A Sky at Night magazine feature from July 10, 2025, details how these reflectors, still operational, confirm the landing's reality. Soviet tracking stations, rivals at the time, corroborated Apollo's signals in real time, an unlikely collusion given Cold War tensions. Imagery from NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, launched in 2009, captures landing sites with visible tracks, discarded equipment, and even astronaut footprints, as highlighted in a Space.com update on March 22, 2025. These artifacts form a mosaic of proof that seems unassailable, yet, for some, gaps in perception invite doubt. Conspiracy theorists counter with a litany of perceived flaws, each a thread in a narrative of deception. The absence of a blast crater beneath the lunar module's descent engine puzzles skeptics, who argue that a rocket powerful enough to land should have scoured the surface. NASA explains that the engine's thrust, diffused in the moon's 1/6 gravity and vacuum, left only a shallow disturbance, as confirmed by high-resolution LRO images. Another focal point is the radiation hazard of the Van Allen belts, which critics claim would have been lethal. However, a 2025 NASA technical brief from June 5th clarifies that Apollo's trajectories minimized exposure to less than 1 rem, equivalent to a few medical scans, with aluminum shielding sufficient for safety. The missing stars in photographs, a common critique, stem from camera exposure settings, prioritizing the bright lunar surface, as demonstrated in a BBC Sky at Night experiment from April 12, 2025. The loss of Apollo 11's original tapes, admitted by NASA in 2006, is explained as a bureaucratic error during a tape shortage, yet it fuels speculation of deliberate erasure. A 2025 Phys.org article from August 10th notes that restored footage, enhanced by AI, aligns with surviving low-quality broadcasts, debunking tampering claims. Each anomaly, when dissected, finds a scientific foothold, yet the collective weight of these questions sustains skepticism. Why do these theories persist in America, a nation built on innovation yet shadowed by distrust? The answer lies in a cultural crucible forged by historical betrayals and amplified by modern media. The 1960s and 70s, when Apollo unfolded, were marked by upheaval. Vietnam War lies exposed by the Pentagon Papers, Watergate's unraveling of government integrity, and CIA's MK-Ultra experiments revealing covert manipulation. A Pew Research Center poll from April 15, 2025, shows only 20% of Americans trust the federal government, a sentiment rooted in these eras. Moon landing skepticism, with 10 to 18% of Americans doubting the missions per a Statista survey from June 27, 2025, reflects this legacy. Younger generations, shaped by post-9/11 skepticism and COVID-era misinformation, are particularly receptive, with a Carsey School survey from August 6, 2025, noting a rise in conspiracy belief among those under 30. Social media platforms like X amplify these narratives. A post from August 9, 2025, by user Habundia links to a documentary claiming AI-detected artifacts in Apollo footage, garnering thousands of shares. Another, from Conscience Realm on August 5th, alleges astronauts confessed to hoaxes, though no verifiable evidence supports this. The allure of conspiracy lies in its promise of empowerment. In a complex world where institutions seem distant, uncovering a hidden truth offers agency. As explored in a Psychology Today piece from May 3, 2025, conspiracy theories thrive on cognitive biases like pattern seeking and distrust of authority, particularly in America's individualistic culture. The moon landing hoax aligns with this, casting ordinary citizens as sleuths against a monolithic NASA. Films like Capricorn 1 in 1978, depicting a faked Mars mission, and the 2024 comedy Fly Me to the Moon, which playfully nods to hoax theories, embed these ideas in pop culture, making skepticism accessible and entertaining. A Reddit thread on r conspiracy from July 20, 2025, compares the hoax narrative to Birds Aren't Real, a satirical conspiracy, yet notes its persistence due to emotional resonance over facts. The moon, a symbol of mystery, becomes a canvas for projecting doubts about power and truth. Yet, science pushes back with relentless clarity. The Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter's images, updated in a NASA release from February 10, 2025, show undisturbed landing sites, refuting claims of stage sets. Moon rocks, studied globally, bear solar wind isotopes absent in Earth's crust, as detailed in a Nature Geoscience paper from March 18, 2025. Even conspiracy touchstones, like the waving flag, are explained by vacuum physics, with a 2025 YouTube video from Veritasium on June 15th, recreating the effect in a lab. China's Chang'e missions, which collected similar samples, corroborate Apollo's findings, as noted in a Space News report from August 7, 2025. These rebuttals, while robust, often fail to sway believers, who see science as part of the establishment's narrative. The persistence of these theories also reflects a broader cultural moment. In 2025, as Artemis prepares to return humans to the moon, public curiosity spikes, but so does skepticism. A New York Times article from July 12, 2025, explores how misinformation thrives in an era of AI deepfakes and polarized media, with moon hoaxes resurging alongside election conspiracies. The X platform, a hub for unfiltered discourse, hosts threads like one from August 20, 2025, by Moon Truth Seeker, claiming Artemis will fake new landings to reinforce Apollo's narrative. Meanwhile, mainstream outlets like BBC Bitesize, updated in April 2025, offer educational modules debunking hoaxes, yet acknowledge their cultural grip. What fuels this enduring dance between science and suspicion? It's the human yearning for mystery in a world increasingly explained. The moon, ever watchful, embodies this tension, a beacon of achievement and a mirror for doubt. As Artemis looms, will new evidence silence skeptics or deepen their resolve? As you settle into the night, let these questions cradle your thoughts. I am Mr. H, wishing you dreams where truth and wonder intertwine. Good night. By the way, if you're enjoying these deep dives into the unknown, why not hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to catch our next episode? Drop a comment to share what time it is where you are. I'm curious to know how these stories resonate under your moonlight. As we stand at the threshold of revelation, we face a choice drawn from the iconic imagery of the Matrix, a red pill, promising the raw, unfiltered truth, however unsettling it may be, or a blue pill, offering the comfort of familiar narratives and blissful ignorance. The moon, our ever-present celestial sentinel, has been the focus of our journey, stirring questions about its origins, its influence, and the secrets it may conceal. In this year of 2025, as America stands poised on the brink of new lunar explorations, what will you choose? To peer into the abyss of possibility, where the moon might be an alien construct or a stage for orchestrated deception, or to rest in the soothing certainty of official accounts? Let this final chapter unfold, weaving intrigue and introspection to lull you into dreams, where answers shimmer just out of reach. The red pill beckons with a promise of unveiling truths that could reshape our understanding of reality itself. Imagine, for a moment, that the moon is not a natural satellite, but an engineered marvel, a hollow sphere crafted by an advanced civilization to monitor or manipulate humanity. This idea, championed by figures like David Icke, resonates deeply in American culture, where skepticism of authority runs like a river through our history. Icke, in his 2011 book, Human Race Get Off Your Knees, The Lion Sleeps No More, posits the moon as a control station, broadcasting frequencies that subtly shape human consciousness. A thread on X from July 18, 2025, by user Cosmic Whistleblower, amplifies this, suggesting that lunar anomalies detected by Artemis probes, unexplained magnetic fields, or subsurface voids, are evidence of extraterrestrial technology. The red pill invites us to consider that the Apollo missions, celebrated as triumphs, might have uncovered such truths, structures, artifacts, or signals that NASA deemed too disruptive to reveal. A Medium article from September 10, 2025, titled "The Moon's Hidden Agenda," speculates that classified Apollo transcripts, partially declassified in 2024, hint at encounters with non-human constructs near the Sea of Tranquility. Choosing this path means embracing the possibility that our government, bound by Cold War imperatives or extraterrestrial agreements, has woven a tapestry of half-truths to maintain order. This choice resonates in America, a nation built on questioning power. From the Declaration of Independence to the whistleblowers of the digital age, we cherish the right to challenge narratives. The Watergate scandal of 1974, which exposed governmental deceit, and the Edward Snowden leaks of 2013, revealing mass surveillance, have primed us to suspect hidden agendas. A Pew Research Center poll from April 15, 2025, shows only 20% of Americans trust federal institutions, a sentiment that fuels conspiracy culture. The moon landing hoax theory, believed by 10 to 18% of Americans per a Statista survey from June 27, 2025, thrives in this climate, with X posts like one from August 22 by Moon Skeptic claiming Artemis will reinforce the lie with staged landings. The red pill aligns with this ethos, urging us to dig deeper, to question whether the moon's perfect eclipses, or its tidal lock showing only one face to Earth, are cosmic accidents or deliberate designs. What if, as Icke suggests, the moon is a prison without bars, modulating our emotions and behaviors through unseen frequencies? A concept echoed in a Reddit thread from August 5, 2025, linking lunar cycles to spikes in national unrest. Yet, the blue pill offers a sanctuary of calm, a return to the narrative that the moon is a natural wonder, its exploration a testament to human ingenuity. This choice embraces the Apollo Legacy 6 missions, 12 men walking the lunar surface, and a trove of rocks that have been studied by scientists globally. The Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter's high-resolution images, updated in a NASA release from February 10, 2025, show undisturbed landing sites, footprints, and rover tracks, corroborating the mission's reality. China's Chang'e 6 samples from 2024, analyzed in a Nature Geoscience paper from March 18, 2025, mirror Apollo's findings, reinforcing a shared scientific truth. The blue pill aligns with the pride of American achievement, celebrated in classrooms and museums, where Apollo's triumphs inspire STEM innovation. A Smithsonian Air and Space Museum exhibit, launched July 20th, 2025, showcases Apollo artifacts alongside Artemis plans, framing the moon as a stepping stone to Mars. Choosing this path means accepting NASA's explanations, waving flags due to vacuum physics, starless photos due to camera settings, and lost tapes as bureaucratic oversights, allowing us to sleep soundly in the glow of human progress. But the blue pill's comfort comes with a cost: the suppression of curiosity. In America, where freedom of thought is a cornerstone, ignoring the red pill's call risks complacency. The Matrix analogy, born in the 1999 film, resonates because it mirrors our struggle to discern reality in an era of misinformation. A New York Times op-ed from July 12, 2025, explores how AI deepfakes and polarized media amplify doubts, with moon hoaxes surging alongside election conspiracies. The film's red-blue dichotomy, discussed in a Vox analysis from August 3, 2025, captures America's fascination with truth versus narrative, a tension amplified by social media. Choosing the blue pill might preserve peace, but it sidesteps the unease of astronauts like Edgar Mitchell, who in a 1998 interview claimed extraterrestrial visits were real, or the strange Apollo 10 sounds, dismissed as radio interference but hauntingly otherworldly. What if these are glimpses of a truth too vast for public consumption? The red pill's path is fraught with peril, not least because it challenges societal stability. If the moon were an alien construct, as speculated in a 2025 podcast, Cosmic Unveilings, aired July 19th, the implications could unravel our understanding of history, religion, and autonomy. A YouTube video from August 10th, 2025, titled "The Moon's Secret Agenda," suggests that lunar anomalies like the hollow-sounding moonquakes or geometric structures in Apollo photos point to a control mechanism, potentially linked to ancient myths of Anunnaki or reptilian overseers. In America, where conspiracy theories like QAnon have sparked unrest, as noted in a Washington Post analysis from June 15, 2025, such revelations could ignite chaos, undermining faith in institutions. Yet, the pursuit of truth is a hallmark of American identity, from the Founding Fathers to modern whistleblowers. A TED Talk by a former NASA engineer on July 25, 2025, urges citizens to question official accounts, citing Apollo's redacted logs as a call to action. The choice is yours, but the moon's presence looms over it. Its cycles shape our tides, our myths, and perhaps our minds, as a Psychology Today piece from May 3, 2025, explores, noting how lunar phases amplify cognitive biases like pattern seeking. Artemis's impending missions, detailed in a Space News report from August 7, 2025, promise new data, but will they reveal or conceal? A tweet from August 23 questions whether Artemis 2's crew will encounter the same lights Aldrin saw. As you ponder, consider the stakes: a truth that could redefine humanity, or a narrative that preserves harmony. In this land of liberty, the red pill tempts with knowledge, but the blue offers rest. Which will you choose as the moon watches silently? I am Mr. H, wishing you dreams where questions bloom and answers whisper softly. Good night.